Reader Group Number 7617091185, System+Daily, Lu Lin, who was about to graduate from university, obtained a system. However, on the first day of obtaining the system asked Lu Lin to borrow money from the high and cold school flower done, trapped by someone. Keywords of the novel. After a breakup, my supercar couldn't be hidden without a pop-up window. After a breakup, my supercar couldn't be hidden. Download the full text. After a breakup, my supercar couldn't be hidden with the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Break Up. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 1 Break Up. Tisk, I'll go. Look, these legs are really white. At Chengdu University, downstairs from the girls' dormitory, looking at his roommates with a pig-like expression next to him, Lu Lin couldn't help but feel disgusted. What kind of gaze are you giving? The leg next to you is only white, and the leg shape is okay. It's really fake. You let me take a look. Sleeping trough, indeed, it's still your Lao Lu's taste. Looking at his roommate's appearance, Lu Lin shook his head helplessly, unsure of what to say. For this roommate who has been solo for 22 years, Lu Lin feels that this product is hopeless. Dada, as they were talking, the sound of footsteps echoed, and a girl dressed in high heels and flashy attire walked towards Lu Lin. What's up with calling me down on such a hot day? Qin Han looked at Lu Lin standing opposite him, with his hands on his hips and a haughty expression on his face, and said in a very impatient tone. In the summer, even if there are any surprises or gifts, can't we wait until evening to talk? If you don't mind the heat, I still don't mind. Lu Lin has been together for over a year, and Qin Han can't understand him better. This pure ATM doesn't know how to speak. No matter what demands he has, Lu Lin never refuses. Take the phone that Lu Lin gave himself as an example. Last winter vacation, when he said he wanted a new fruit phone, Lu Lin didn't even go home. During the vacation, he went straight to the electronics factory in the south and worked for more than a month, buying himself a phone with all his salary. 1 terabyte, far peak blue. At that time, she was extremely happy, but for her now, a small phone can no longer move her. After all, she is no longer the ignorant little girl. On this hot day, what gifts cannot be given at night? The heat emitted by the sun hanging high above his head makes Qin Han very impatient. Let's break up. Lu Lin looked at Qin Han, who was arrogant in front of him, and said in a very plain tone. Well, good. After subconsciously nodding, Qin Han was stunned for a moment, and then reflected on what Lu Lin had said. Break up. Lu Lin, did you take the wrong medicine? Qin Han expressed great shock at Lu Lin's request. How could a person who licks their dog like this take the initiative to break up? And, who are you, a fairy? If you want to break up, you have to do it yourself. He's just an ATM, why do you propose to break up? That's right, it's just a breakup, and remember, I dumped you. Looking at Qin Han with a shocked expression on his face, Lu Lin calmly finished this sentence and turned to leave. Stop the old lady. Faced with Lu Lin's sudden request for a breakup, even Qin Han lost his composure and rushed to Lin, shouting loudly. Are you crazy? On a hot day, you hurriedly called me down just to break up with me. And where did I offend you? I haven't done anything wrong to you, why did I break up? Looking at Qin Han, who was somewhat angry, Lu Lin sneered and then took out his own phone to open the comments section of Qin Han's short video platform. Well, take a look at your own comment section. When someone asks if you're single, how do you respond? Oh, he has always been single and has never been in a relationship. What's wrong with this? Is it difficult? I have to tell my buddies in the live broadcast room that I have a boyfriend. If I don't maintain my single status, how would they give me a reward? Looking at the screen on Lu Lin's phone, Qin Han still defended himself with a stiff tongue. Wow, I guess even if the universe is destroyed, your mouth will still exist. I didn't originally want to break my face with you, but since that's the case, let's talk it over. Not to mention the distance, last night you went out to have dinner with your top scorer and didn't come back all night. How do you explain that? Faced with Lu Lin's questioning, Chin Han also panicked for a moment. I haven't returned all night. Chin Han was clearly feeling a bit guilty, but Lu Lin's questioning also triggered Chin Han's ability to strike back. What do you think of me as? I just went out for a meal, and because it was too late, I opened a room outside and slept all night. What can I do? Why are you so cautious? I know you don't have confidence in yourself, but you can't just control me just because of this. I'm also human, and I need to have my own space. I'm really tired of you like this. I'm too tired. You have to interfere with my personal life, and I feel like I don't even have any space to be with you. Looking at Chin Han, who was performing his own stunt, Lu Lin sneered. Is that so? But unfortunately, by chance, I clicked on your top-ranked guy's homepage and saw that he had posted a video of him in a hotel last night, and the video content was just right, including a girl's intimate underwear. I carefully looked at this underwear, it seems like I bought it for you. I even took off my intimate underwear. Do you have anything else to explain? Faced with Chin Han's infidelity, Lu Lin was not actually angry. Getting angry for such a woman was purely to lower his own situation. For a woman like you, the better you treat her, the less she treats you as a person, and the more she advances, Lu Lin naturally won't have any good looks for her. No, things are not what you think. Even though Lu Lin had provided evidence, Chin Han still wanted to defend himself. However, before Chin Han could speak, Lu Lin interrupted him. Let's break up. Besides, it's meaningless. It's not the first time you've been out with your top-ranking brother. Do you really think I'm a fool? After being completely exposed, Chin Han was also a bit angry and frustrated. Seeing that Lu Lin was determined to break up, Chin Han also completely tore off his disguise. Okay, just break up. Lu Lin, why do you think I should be with you? Well, you poor student, even if you don't take a pee and take care of yourself. Do you know that my top scorer in the live broadcast room gave me tens of thousands of yuan as a reward? Did you see the necklace around my neck? Swarovski, that's a whopping 7,000 yuan. Look at you again, buy me a new phone, and work hard for a month on summer vacation. That's the difference. You poor student, being able to be with me is already my condescension, okay? You ask yourself, do you think Lu Lin is worthy of me? Looking at Chin Han's bewildered expression, Lu Lin also shook his head. This kind of woman is completely hopeless. Since you look down on me so much, then return the things I gave you to me. If you want, go find your top scorer. My money cannot be used by bitch. Lu Lin looked at Chin Han's serious phone and spoke up. Mobile phone. No way, do you still want to go back? Is there anything else that was sent out that was asked for back then? You really look down. If you think this book is good, please don't post it recently. After the PK is completed, you can post it again. After all, the grade of this book determines whether it can be written or not. Thank you all. Please. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. This task, what's going on? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. This task, what's going on? You really look down. Faced with Chin Han's insults, Lu Lin did not get angry, but said calmly. I bought it for you because I like you and want to be with you for a long time. Moreover, I am giving Chin Han, who still has a pure mind, instead of playing with various flowers on the bed of Brother Bangi. Besides your phone, please also return the other computers and tablets that I gave you. Give it to you, then give it to you. What's so remarkable about it? I don't really care. Chin Han was also infuriated by Lu Lin's words, and simply restored his phone to its factory settings, logged out of his Fruit account, and threw it to Lu Lin. Subsequently, Qin Han turned around and went upstairs. In about half an hour, Qin Han picked up a large box and threw it in front of Lu Lin. He then left without looking back. I don't know, Lao Lu. It's really a split. The roommate on the side witnessed the whole process and didn't know whether to advise or not. Otherwise, why keep such a woman for? Don't think about it, hurry up and move things. It's time for you to play your role. As they spoke, the two of them carried the boxes and walked towards their own dormitory. Returning to the dormitory, Lu Lin sorted out all the things in the box, threw away all the useless ones, and the remaining ones that could be sold as second-hand were directly hung on the second-hand trading group of a certain fish and school for sale. This box of things can sell for at least several thousand yuan. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully getting rid of the scumbag girl and the title of licking dog. As a man, if you should break it, then break it. Don't lick your dog suddenly, a voice rang out in Lu Lin's mind, and then a blue screen appeared in front of him that only he could see. Perfect Life System. Looking at the big characters on the blue screen, Lu Lin also understood in his heart. Sure enough, as a traveler, the system is really standard. Yes, now Lu Lin, it can be said that only his physical body still belongs to him. And the original Lu Lin, on the day he discovered that Qin Han had that kind of relationship with Brother Bang, died suddenly due to drinking too much. And coincidentally, he was successfully occupied by the current Lu Lin, which is why Lu Lin was so decisive when breaking up with Qin Han. If it were placed on the original Lu Lin, Qin Han would probably speak louder, and Lu Lin would have to apologize directly. Ding! Release a limited time task. For whatever reason, find a way to borrow 10,000 yuan from the school flower Yen Ruowei. After completing the task, reward 1 billion summer coins and randomly select one top-level supercar. Task deadline, 24 hours. Do you accept it? Looking at the text appearing on the blue screen in front of him, Lu Lin was somewhat speechless. What, borrowing 10,000 yuan from the school flower management, are you telling a joke here? Please, school flower or something, Lu Lin is really unfamiliar, okay. As the original body of an old licking dog, how could it be possible to have good relationships with other girls even with Qin Han? Moreover, there is no intersection between the two individuals, one is a towering school flower and the other is an ordinary student who cannot be found in the crowd, let alone borrowing money. This awkward situation is really too difficult for Lu Lin. However, the difficulty comes back to the difficulty, but the system has given too much. Moreover, there is no punishment for failure. Why not do it? The big deal is to die suddenly in society. Accepted. After Lu Lin chose to accept the task, a ding-dong prompt sound suddenly came from his phone in his pocket. When I opened my phone, it turned out that the counselor had sent a notice for the class meeting in the class group, stating that they wanted to explain some graduation matters. After reading the notice, Lu Lin looked at several roommates and spoke up. Have you seen all the notices? Why don't we go over now? Although Chengdu University, where Lu Lin is located, is not a top-tier university, it can still be considered a first-class university with good dormitories for 4 people. Today at noon, we went to find Qin Han's roommate named Qin Jia, and the other 2 were named Yang Hao and Meng Lin. Among them, Meng Lin has already found a job outside and is still in the internship period, while Yang Hao and Qin Jia are lying in bed, talking about King of Glory on their phones. Isn't it supposed to arrive in 20 minutes? And based on our guide's time concept, he doesn't think he can come without 40 minutes. That's right, there's still time to go later. As we approach graduation, as a senior student, we naturally won't prepare for any gatherings in advance like we did in our freshman year. The school's rules and regulations do not have much binding force on those who are about to graduate. Okay, then I'll go first. Lu Lin nodded, then packed up his things and prepared to leave. Yen Ruowei is in the same class as herself. If she had gone early, she might have met her in the classroom. A few minutes later, Lu Lin arrived in the classroom where tonight's class meeting was held. After seeing the house number and confirming it, Lu Lin pushed open the door and walked in. Due to the early arrival, there were not many people in the classroom. Seeing that Yan Ruowei had not yet arrived, Lu Lin directly found a seat in the back and took out his phone to start playing. Looking at the phone in his hand that had been used for 3 years and had shattered every corner of the screen, Lu Lin couldn't help but sigh. This original body is too licking a dog, right? I'm using such a broken phone and buying Yuan Phone Blue for others. Opening the payment app on his phone, looking at his only balance of 321 yuan and the over 1,000 yuan owed by Huabei, Lu Lin was also quite helpless. Sigh, it's really the beginning of hell. If it weren't for the system, maybe I would choose to start over again. Licking a dog will kill you. After cursing, Lu Lin put away his phone and looked at the front door of the classroom, constantly thinking about why he should borrow the 10,000 yuan from Yan Ruowei. How exactly are you speaking up? Parents seriously ill. Not very good. Although it's not your own parents, you can't curse them like that. Besides, if your parents are seriously ill and borrow money from friends, what's going on with them? How about pretending to suddenly receive news that my roommate has had an accident? In a hurry, I can only borrow money from Yan Ruowei. This is a good idea. These sons in the dormitory are coming in handy now. About 10 minutes later, Lu Lin's counselor walked into the classroom. At this time, almost everyone in the classroom was due, and only a few people did not arrive, including Yan Ruowei and his own sons. What's the situation? The guide came today so punctually. Moreover, isn't Yan Ruowei a good student on a regular basis? Why was she late for the class meeting? Is it difficult to ask for leave for something? Lying trough. No, then it's not a big deal. I only have a 24-hour task deadline. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Is over, it's exposed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 is over, it's exposed, Jia. Just as Lu Lin was struggling in his heart, the sudden sound of the door opening sounded like a heavenly melody, calming his restlessness. I saw the back door of the classroom being gently pushed open, and Yan Ruowei quietly walked in through the back door with a crouched cat. I don't know if it was fate or something, but Yan Ruowei, who lowered her head, accidentally sat next to Lu Lin. Due to running all the way, Yan Ruowei's face was still slightly red and she was panting lightly. Although Yan Ruowei's family background may not be considered a wealthy family, it is definitely at a moderately prosperous level. Today happens to be her birthday again, and I just finished talking to my family on the phone, which is why I missed some time. Because it was her birthday, all her family members transferred a lot of money in red envelopes to her. Thanks to his parents and his brothers and sisters, Yan Ruowei received a red envelope of over 11,000 yuan today. Yan Ruowei plans to use this money for his graduation trip after graduation. At this moment, Lu Lin, seeing Yan Ruowei sitting next to him, couldn't help feeling excited in his heart. That's great. I was thinking about how to get close to Yan Ruowei, but these were great, so I delivered them directly to my door. Next, let's watch me perform. Subsequently, Lu Lin pretended to receive a message, took out his phone from his pocket, clicked on WeChat, and his expression changed from initially relaxed to heavy. At first, Yan Ruowei did not notice Lu Lin's abnormality, and Lu Lin also knew that if only he were performing here, Yan Ruowei would definitely not notice him. So, Lu Lin directly locked the phone screen, held it in his hand, and pretended to be very anxious. The phone also kept tapping the desktop regularly, making a noise, trying to attract Yan Ruowei's attention. It has been proven that Lu Lin's trick successfully attracted Yan Ruowei. Yan Ruowei, who had been listening attentively to the instructor's class meeting, frowned and looked towards Lu Lin in the direction of the sound when she heard a tapping sound in her ear. Originally, Yan Ruowei intended to ask Lu Lin not to make any noise, but when Yan Ruowei saw Lu Lin's anxious expression, as if something big had happened, the little resentment in his heart disappeared and he began to ask. Is there anything wrong? Forget it, you can't help me. Upon hearing Yan Ruowei's inquiry, Lu Lin felt secretly happy, but there was no hint of joy on his face. Instead, he continued to pretend to be anxious inside, feeling somewhat helpless. What if you speak up, maybe I can find a way to help you. Yan Ruowei, who was always kind-hearted, felt a little anxious when he saw Lu Lin like this. Moreover, Yan Ruowei had a good impression of Lu Lin in his heart. Oh, it's nothing, it's just one of my roommates who had an accident yesterday and was hit by a car. Now the car has run away. He, on the other hand, was hit and flew out, bleeding heavily on the ground. As a result, he also fell into a coma and hasn't woken up yet. His family's conditions are not good, and he dare not tell his parents. Both parents are farmers, and they face the yellow soil and back to the sky every day, and they don't earn much money. Our roommates pooled some money to advance his medical expenses, but the hospital said the money had already been spent and asked us to continue paying. But we are all poor students and don't have much money in our hands. How about you lend me some? In the end, even Lu Lin himself was almost deceived by his worried and cautious tone. Ah! But today is my birthday. Looking at Lu Lin's pitiful appearance, Yan Ruowei also felt somewhat soft-hearted, but she always felt that it wasn't like that. Ah, is that okay? Forget it, it's not appropriate for you to borrow money for your birthday. I'll think of other ways. Seeing Yan Ruowei's expression at this moment, Lu Lin felt secretly pleased in his heart. Since he had not explicitly refused, he still had a chance to borrow money. However, we still need to sell another wave of tragedy. Meng Lin, let's take it as a sacrifice for your father's bright future. I can lend it to you. How much do you want? Seeing that the sorrow on Lu Lin's face had become even more intense, Yan Ruowei also gritted his teeth and whispered to Lu Lin. Really? But the hospital said they need to pay 10,000 yuan. Lu Lin was initially excited, followed by some awkward acting skills, which can be said to have really deceived Yan Ruowei. It's okay, I received a lot of red envelopes today, but you need to give me an IOU. Listening to Yan Ruowei's words, Lu Lin really didn't know what to say. Deceiving such a kind girl would really hurt his conscience. Okay. After speaking, Lu Lin then tore a piece of paper from his notebook, wrote the IOU, signed his name, and handed it to Yan Ruowei. Also, this is my ID card for collateral. So you don't have to worry about me not paying back the money. Looking at Lu Lin's serious appearance, Yan Ruowei nodded after checking the contents of the IOU and Lu Lin's ID card. Subsequently, Yan Ruowei took out her phone and found Lu Lin's WeChat in the class's WeChat group, adding Lu Lin's friend. After turning over 10,000 yuan, Yan Ruowei suddenly remembered something and asked Lu Lin. By the way, you haven't said which roommate of yours had an accident yet. When asked by Yan Ruowei, Lu Lin was also a bit nervous, but fortunately, he had already figured out his words before doing this. It's Meng Lin, you should have seen it before. Why not mention others? Mainly because Lu Lin thinks that Meng Lin is currently interning outside and should not come back for class meetings, so there shouldn't be any problem with taking Meng Lin's top job. So, I remember him. He even helped me move things before. He's a nice person, sigh. Looking at Yan Ruowei's appearance at this moment, Lu Lin's conscience felt as if he had been run over by a truck, extremely painful, but there was nothing he could do. After all, to complete the task, blame the system. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the limited time task. Rewards are being distributed. At the same time as hearing the system prompt, Lu Lin received a text message. Your savings card ending in 1438 transferred 1 billion yuan at 16.20 on June 12, with a current balance of 1 billion yuan, 1 billion has been received, it's so satisfying. However, before Lu Lin could finish being happy, what happened next left him completely numb. Bang bang bang. With a few knocking on the door, several of Lu Lin's roommates always entered, and in the end, it was Meng Lin who had already been admitted to the hospital. Lying trough. How did Meng Lin come back? Shouldn't this kid be interning? It's over, it's exposed. Subsequently, Lu Lin felt a cold gaze staring at him, turned his head, and Yan Ruowei looked at him with a stern expression, asking. Classmate Lu, may I ask what's going on? End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Making the School Flower Cry. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Making the School Flower Cry. Classmate Lu, could you please explain what's going on? Meng Lin is not hospitalized, why is he here? Watching Meng Lin push the door in, Yan Ruowei instantly understood that Lu Lin was deceiving him, and his face stiffened instantly. He looked at Lu Lin and questioned him. Hi, I'm not. That's right, how to say it. Isn't this just a joke? I've been thinking about my university for 4 years, but I haven't had any interaction with you, Yan University, or even WeChat. So, that's why I came up with this strategy and came up with a way to add your WeChat account, right? Joking, do you know how worried I was just now? Looking at your serious appearance, I thought something really happened to Meng Lin. I was thinking, if there's not enough money, I'll go ask my parents for money, or I'll borrow some from friends. But Yan Ruowei, who understood, looked at Lu Lin and sobbed as he spoke. He simply lay on the table, sobbing softly. Don't cry, I'll transfer the money back to you now. At this moment, in front of the classroom, Lu Lin's 3 roommates also sat down casually. Chen Jia, hurry up and sit down. It's time to mention the files you need to fill out for graduation. Yes, guide, we'll do it right away. After sitting down, Chen Jia pulled Yang Hao and Meng Lin beside him and spoke. Sleeping trough, what's wrong with Lao Lu? Why are he with the school flower, and it seems like Lao Lu even made the school flower cry. Didn't Lao Lu just break up with that Qin Han at noon? How could he have hooked up with the school flower so quickly? The 3 of them looked at Lu Lin sitting next to Yan Ruowei, with a look of envy on their faces. You know, that's the school flower. At Qingdu University, she is the dream lover of countless boys. However, Yan Ruowei had never heard of getting closer to that boy during his 4 years in college. Unexpectedly, as graduation approached, Lu Lin had actually gotten involved with the school flower and even made her cry. If this were to be seen by the school flower's licking dog, no, pursuers would have the heart to kill Lu Lin. Lao Lu broke up and even hooked up with the school flower. I just went out to work for a few days. How could I speak up about so many things? I have to say that Lao Lu is also amazing. He can quickly hook up with the school flower. Meng Lin, who was unaware that he had already been arranged by Lu Lin, couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. Cough cough. Alright, the guide has looked over. If there's anything, let's wait until the meeting is over before asking Lao Lu. Watching the guide look at the 3 of them, Chen Jia coughed lightly twice, released his roommate beside him, sat up straight, and put on a good student-like appearance. At this moment, in the back row, Lu Lin looked down at Yan Ruowei, who was sobbing, and also panicked for a moment. When the girl starts crying, it's really scary. Unfortunately, with 2 lifetimes of memories, one being single and the other licking a dog, Lu Lin didn't know how to coax the girl anymore. What, it's my fault. I shouldn't be joking with you like that. I'm sorry. How about this? I'll treat you to dinner, you choose the place. Or watch a movie, how about watching a movie? Even worse, can I invite you out to play or take a graduation trip? Yan Ruowei did not respond to Lu Lin's words and still lay on the table, sobbing. Seeing this, Lu Lin also had no choice but to sigh helplessly. He turned his head to the side and saw the instructor standing on the podium. At first glance, it didn't matter, and Lu Lin immediately came to pay attention. "Don't cry, the guide has come over." Lu Lin lightly patted Yan Ruowei beside him and whispered. Upon hearing this, Yan Ruowei quickly wiped away the tears from her face, then lifted her head and pretended to be filling out a file. However, after writing a few words, Yan Ruowei noticed that the instructor was still sitting on the podium, looking down and playing with his phone. "You." Seeing that she had been deceived by Lu Lin again, Yan Ruowei's grievances were instantly swept away and turned into anger towards Lu Lin. "Lu Lin, if you don't lie to me, you'll die, right?" Seeing Yan Ruowei finally stop crying, Lu Lin also breathed a sigh of relief. "My fault, it's all my fault, it's my fault. I really don't know how to stop you from crying. I transferred that 10,000 yuan to you. I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to deceive you. By the way, you should quickly collect the money, tear up the IOU, and return my ID card, okay?" Upon hearing Lu Lin's words, Yan Ruowei still spoke angrily. "I have received the money and torn the IOU, but I cannot repay you with my ID card. You have deceived me twice in a row, and I am still angry now. If I don't teach you a lesson, it will be difficult to dispel my anger." Looking at Yan Ruo's slightly angry appearance, Lu Lin was also a bit hesitant. Although the ID card can be reissued, it still takes a long time. Even if it is urgent, it will take a week to process, and it is also very troublesome. "Don't worry, it's not that I won't give it to you, it just depends on your apology attitude and sincerity." Looking at Lu Lin's somewhat conflicted expression, Yan Ruowei also said with a hint of softness. But I'm really useful. I made an appointment with my roommates tonight to stay up all night." Seeing Yan Ruo slightly relax, Lu Lin also pretended to be pitiful and said. "Oh, do you think I'm an ignorant girl? Just go out and scan the QR code on your phone now, you don't even need your ID card. Don't disturb me, I need to write the file now." Yan Ruowei glared at Lu Lin, then picked up his pen and started writing on the file in front of him. Seeing this, Lu Lin was also very helpless and could only pick up his pen to start filling out his own file. There is still a lot to write about above, and even a self-evaluation or something like that. As the time for the supervisor to collect it is not far away, Lu Lin can only write with great enthusiasm. On the other side, in the girls' dormitory, Qin Han, who had been broken up, felt extremely uncomfortable in his heart. He really wanted to post a post on his social media to accuse Lu Lin of his actions. However, when he remembered that he had already returned his phone to Lu Lin, his heart became even more uncomfortable. Really, the man with the lower head. Isn't it just dividing hands? Surprisingly, he even took back all the things he had given him. He's really kind. How stingy. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have returned it to him. Now without a phone, I can't even reach my top-ranking brother. Fortunately, in this era where WeChat chatting is commonly used, Qin Han still recorded the phone number of her top brother on the list. "Wang Yu, lend me your phone and I'll make a call," Qin Han said to his roommate who was sleeping across from him. "No, here you are." Taking the phone, Qin Han walked towards the balcony and dialed the phone of brother Bangi. "Hey, husband, he's been bullied." End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Compensation for me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Compensation for me. Speak in person, don't shout, I'm in a meeting now. On the other end of the phone, a pretentious serious voice rang out. Vaguely, Qin Han heard the sound of a woman panting on the other end of the phone. "Meeting. I believe you're a ghost, there must be other women around me." However, Qin Han himself was also aware that it was normal for wealthy people to spend money, especially since he was not in a relationship with his elder brother. He only wanted his elder brother's money, and as long as he gave money to spend, he didn't care how many women he had. Qin Han didn't pay attention to the woman's voice coming from brother Bangi's side, but told him about his situation. "Alright, I got it. I'll transfer the money to your WeChat account later. You can buy it yourself. Remember, don't call me during my meetings in the future. I'll pick you up at your school tonight. I have some work matters to talk to you about. After speaking, before Chin Han could reply, Brother Banyi hung up the phone, bent down, and continued to fight. After hanging up the phone, Chin Han logged onto his WeChat account with his roommate's phone and withdrew the 10,000 yuan that Big Brother Bang had given him. All the unhappiness in Chin Han's heart dissipated in an instant. This money is enough to buy the latest and best Apple phone. Only a phone as expensive as an Apple can deserve a fairy-like self, at least Chin Han himself thinks so. At this point, Chin Han went directly to the ATM machine on campus to withdraw the cash, took a taxi outside the school gate, and went directly to the offline mobile phone store to buy a new phone. Meanwhile, in the classroom, Yen Ruowei was still bowing her head to fill out her information, and she still looked coldly at Lu Lin, who had already filled out the information next to her and didn't know what she was doing. It's not about how fast Lu Lin filled in, but because there are many things that Lu Lin didn't need to write about. For example, for that award-winning project, at least it must be a school-level reward, while Lu Lin has none, just write a simple, none. What kind of self-evaluation is there? For this kind of thing, Lu Lin has always sneered at it and directly searched online for a review of about 200 words and copied it. But Yen Ruowei is different. Here, Yen Ruowei has written more than 10 different awards. Not to mention self-evaluation and the like. After about half an hour, as the students finished filling in the parts they had written, the instructor put away his phone, stood up, and said to the students below the podium. I see that you have already filled out the parts you need to fill out. The supervisor commented that you should hand over the form to your classmates and ask them to help you write it. Be careful not to write by yourself, use different handwriting, and try to find classmates who have better handwriting to help you write. This is a file that needs to be buried with you. Upon hearing the supervisor's words, Yen Ruowei looked around and found that only Lu Lin was idle and not helping others write evaluations. Therefore, he had to hand over his own file to Lu Lin. Can you help me fill it out? Give me yours and I'll fill it out for you. Okay. Anyway, I can't find anyone to help me write the file, so I'll just agree to Yen Ruowei's request. As a result, Lu Lin began to look through Yen Ruowei's archives. When he saw Yen Ruowei's extremely serious series of small essays on self-evaluation, even Lu Lin had to admit it. Yen Ruowei is really outstanding, and being named the school flower is not just because she looks good. During her 4 years in university, Yen Ruowei has been working hard and consistently ranked among the top 3 in her major. However, unlike Lu Lin's seriousness, Yen Ruowei looked at Lu Lin's file and suddenly laughed. How can you just write about your strengths, and do you have these strengths? Honesty and trustworthiness, do you think you are honest? Yen Ruowei pointed to the self-evaluation that Lu Lin had copied online and asked. Why am I dishonest? Did I borrow money to repay it? Upon hearing Lu Lin's words, Yen Ruowei gave him a slight white glance and spoke up. I didn't mention anything about you deceiving me. Listening to Yen Ruowei's words, Lu Lin quickly retorted. Yen Ruowei, please pay attention to your wording. Didn't I say it? I was just joking with you. Can it be called scam if it's just a joke or a joke about a man? Yen Ruowei was also angry and laughed at by Lu Lin's scoundrel, looking at Lu Lin and saying. So, what do you call a scam? After thinking for a moment, Lu Lin said. How could you also cheat money and lust? If you cheat your money, then cheat your body, and then disappear directly, that's the scammer. Do you think I, as an honest person, can do such a thing? Listening to Lu Lin's shameless words, Yen Ruowei lightly patted him, then turned his head and whispered a rogue sentence. He stopped paying attention to Lu Lin and started filling out the file. However, unconsciously, Yen Ruowei realized that she didn't seem to be angry anymore. On the contrary, she found Lu Lin quite interesting. Seeing Yan Ruowei's face turn slightly red, Lu Lin also understood that Yan Ruowei was no longer angry with him. Seeing this, Lu Lin took a deep breath. Oh my god. Coaxing girls is really a technical job. After all, it's those scumbag guys who are so difficult to deal with, girls, who can make them coax around so much. Since ancient times, deep affection cannot be retained, only tricks can win people's hearts. Not long after, the files were almost filled out, and it was almost time for dinner. After submitting the files, Lu Lin looked at Yan Ruowei beside him and asked. How about it, the school flower? Can you return my ID card to me? No, I haven't figured out how you can compensate me yet. Yan Ruowei thought for a moment and said. Although he is no longer angry, if he were to forgive Lu Lin so easily, Yan Ruowei would still feel at a loss. How about I treat you to dinner? No, it's too perfunctory to treat me to dinner. I heard there's a car race in Qinshan tonight. If you can find a way to take me there, I'll forgive you. Yan Ruowei thought for a moment and spoke up. For that car race, Yan Ruowei also overheard his roommate talking about it, as if it was a supercar race. In addition, Yan Ruowei was somewhat curious about car racing, so he made such a request. However, it is said that it is quite difficult to obtain admission tickets for the viewing. Yan Ruowei did not really think that Lu Lin could take him to see it, but just wanted to find a way to play tricks on Lu Lin and avenge her small mistake. Tisk, is it a car race? Okay, I'll figure out a way to contact you through WeChat once it's done. After thinking for a moment, Lu Lin agreed. Although I don't know what this car race really is, with the 1 billion balance in my own card and the system's reward for supercars, I should be able to find a way to get in and become an audience. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. This car is a bit powerful. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. This car is a bit powerful. After leaving the classroom, Lu Lin did not return to the dormitory immediately, but first checked his task rewards. 1 billion yuan in cash had already been deposited into Yan Ruowei's card at the moment he transferred the money to him. As for the supercar, it was still waiting for Lu Lin to withdraw it himself. After calling up the system panel, looking at the content on the blue transparent screen, Lu Lin didn't hesitate to click the extraction button. I don't know what supercar they will give me. Ferrari or Bugatti? Watching various models of supercars flashing rapidly on the screen, Lu Lin couldn't help but start looking forward to it. After all, for most men, supercars are one of the things they absolutely cannot refuse. The speed of the supercar scrolling on the screen became slower and slower, and finally, it froze in a car that looked both unfamiliar and somewhat familiar to Lu Lin. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Pagani Huayra NC customized version. The key has been placed in the left pocket of the host, and the parking location of the vehicle has been marked on the map. The source of system rewards is reasonable and legal, and the host can use it with confidence. Looking at this supercar with a different appearance from other vehicles, unable to recall the detailed information of this car, Lu Lin decided to open his phone and start searching on Dunyang. I don't know if I don't search, I'm scared when I search. Good guy, Pagani. For most people, the term supercar in their minds usually refers to Ferrari, Lamborghini, or Bugatti, but in fact, among the supercar ranks, Jihong has such a very special presence. Whenever it comes to supercars at the top of the pyramid, Pagani is an unavoidable presence. Italian brand, purely handmade, with minimal stock, and ASCII appearance, every attribute of Pagani is adding to its value. Similarly, Pagani is also an absolute synonym for the wealthy. At this time, the Fengshan NC customized version that Lu Lin drew is even the top presence among Pagani, a customized top supercar, the only one in the world. Although not publicly available, the price is definitely tens of millions. When he was amazed in his heart, Lu Lin was somewhat troubled. Although he now has a supercar and a driver's license, asking someone who has never really driven a car to drive a supercar can make Lu Lin nervous. There's nothing wrong with a car collision, after all, no matter how expensive it is, it's only tens of millions. With my current balance, I can fully afford it, but if something happens to someone, there's no need to regret it. Just as Lu Lin was in trouble, the sound of the system in his mind rang out again. Congratulations to the host for completing the beginner task, reward. Top-level driving skills, TISC, system, are you conscious? Silence is Cambridge tonight. Seeing the system ignoring him, Lu Lin was too lazy to ponder these things. After all, it is possible for him to travel through time, and it is not so strange for the system to have self-awareness. Now that the car and driving skills have been completed, we need to consider how to obtain admission qualifications. Firstly, it is necessary to first understand the car race that Yan Ruowei mentioned. After a moment of contemplation, Lu Lin directly opened his phone and began searching in the same city's Chiba. After searching using car racing as a keyword, Lu Lin quickly found the post posted by the initiator of this car race. At 10 o'clock tonight, is Qin Shan. Have the audience tickets been sold out? Looking at the response from the initiator at the bottom of the post, Lu Lin was also somewhat helpless. He had originally thought that if he could buy tickets, he could just pay for a few tickets and take Yan Ruowei to see them. However, now it seems that this method probably won't work. Lu Lin didn't want to go to scalpers to buy tickets, but the tickets for this car race were still real name. Everyone had to buy a ticket with his ID number, which made scalpers unable to get into the hole. However, unwilling to give up, Lu Lin still read the post word by word and sentence by sentence. Finally, hard work pays off. Apart from being an audience, there is another way to participate in the car race. Although the race time is tonight, the registration deadline has not yet passed. Looking at the registration address in the post, Lu Lin didn't have any ink on it. He directly followed the direction on the system map and found his own Pagani function. Looking at the car body full of power and technology, Lu Lin instantly fell in love with the top-notch presence in this supercar. Opening the car door and sitting inside, the enveloping feeling of the racing seats and the strong racing style of the interior dashboard made Lu Lin feel like he was on the track. Feeling the pleasure brought by this car, Lu Lin immediately started the car and drove towards the direction outside the campus. If such a car doesn't race around, wouldn't it be too suffocating? At this moment, in the girls' dormitory on the other side, Qin Han, who had bought his new phone, was seriously putting on makeup in the dormitory. Judging from his appearance, he knew that he was going to meet some important person tonight. Just as Qin Han finished putting on his makeup, his phone on the table rang. Qin Han quickly picked up his phone, went to the balcony, and answered the call. "Hello, husband, have you arrived yet?" Qin Hanjiao's dripping voice rang on the other end of the phone. "I'm here, I'm already at the entrance of your school. I'm driving that Primera, you can come out now." On the other end of the phone, a voice that sounded somewhat eager came over. Upon hearing this voice, Qin Han knew that he couldn't avoid another fierce battle tonight. After hanging up the phone, Qin Han hurriedly tidied up and ran towards the school gate. The land area of Chengdu University is not small. On the contrary, among the universities in the country, Chengdu University ranks among the top in terms of area. Therefore, the distance between the female dormitories and the school gate is still some. About 20 minutes later, Qin Han hurriedly arrived at the school gate on his high heels. After scanning around, Qin Han found the Primera that came to pick him up, twisted his waist in a very coquettish manner, and walked towards her top-ranked brother. "Husband, you're finally here. You don't even know, he suffered a great deal today." As soon as he got into the car, Qin Han hugged the man next to him by the neck and said coquettishly. However, before the man could reply, the sudden roar of the engine caught the attention of the two. Listening to the incredibly loud roar of the engine, the man pushed Qin Han aside, opened the car door, got off the car, and began to look around. "Husband, what are you looking at?" the man said impatiently about Qin Han's question. Don't make a fuss, listen to this noise. It must be the sound of a top-tier supercar. As a luxury car enthusiast, just by listening to the sound, men can roughly determine what level of car it is. And when he followed the source of the sound and saw the car making the sound, even with his vision, he couldn't help but widen his eyes and look incredulous. Is this Pagani, the wind god? End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Registration. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Registration. Although it was a supercar, it was still on campus and the roads were not as wide. There were also many students walking on the road, and Lu Lin could only slightly reduce the speed. Occasionally, when there were few people, he would slightly step on the accelerator and increase the speed. However, in the eyes of others, Lu Lin's behavior has become a very cupping operation. What? Driving a sports car is amazing, honking the accelerator so many times. Who should I tell you? Just like that, how can the people in the classroom still attend classes when the gas pedal keeps hitting so hard? People who hate the rich will not be few no matter where they are. However, not everyone will blindly hate wealthy people. Alright, what's the noise? It's because in the campus, there's nothing I can do while driving a supercar, so I can only lightly press the accelerator. If I drive faster, I'll definitely kill a few people just because of the traffic on campus. If Lu Lin could hear this, he would definitely give the speaker a good thumbs up. Although there is a divine level driving skill bonus, even the most powerful racing driver cannot stand up and drive the car. On this crowded road, Lu Lin can only slowly and leisurely drive the car out of the campus. At this moment, as Lu Lin slowly drove out of the school gate, Chin Han's big brother Bang immediately widened his eyes. Sleeping trough, surprisingly, it's really the god of wind. Watching Chin Han excitedly appear as if he had never seen the world before, Chin Han beside him couldn't help but feel a little puzzled. After all, in her perception, her top-ranking brother was already a very impressive presence. How could anything possibly make him show such an expression? What's wrong, husband? Isn't it just a supercar? Isn't your Primera also a sports car? Can it be any worse than him? Gently pressing his body against brother Bangi, Chin Han pinched his throat and said coquettishly. However, the reaction of the top scorer this time is completely different from before. What do you know? The one I just drove over was a Pagani function, and even the cheapest model could buy several Panameras. And the one I just saw, if I'm not mistaken, should be the NC customized version released at the recent auto show this year, with a value of at least 40 million yuan. This is the only one in the world, and I didn't expect to see it today in Chengdu. Be careful when you speak in the future. People who can afford to drive this kind of car are definitely not something we can afford to offend. A billionaire of this level can ruin my fortune with just one simple sentence. Looking at the serious appearance of his top-ranked brother, Chin Han also knew he had said the wrong thing. He quickly lowered his head and pretended to be delicate. Watching Chin Han behave like this, brother Bangi did not soften his heart. Instead, he was thinking about when he would find a reason to dump Chin Han. If it weren't for Chin Han's good martial arts, just based on what she said earlier, he would have already driven away by now. Alright, get in the car and we need to go talk about work. After leaving the campus and entering the university city, the road conditions have improved significantly. The reason behind this is still because those drivers who saw Lu Lin's supercar chose to stay away from him, giving him a very wide road. As for why, don't ask, you just can't afford to pay. Looking at Lu Linkai's Pagani, the car owners on the road all roast. Sleeping on the road, this level of sports car was created by that crazy person. Because vehicles along the way were giving way, almost all of Lu Lin's journey was stuck at the maximum speed limit, and coupled with the fact that Qinshan is not too far from the university city, it only took about half an hour for Lu Lin to reach the foot of Qinshan. Although Qinshan is named after Qin, it is not a tourist attraction. On the contrary, due to its remote location and not very beautiful scenery, several wealthy second-generation members joined forces to package Qinshan and built racetracks for racing on the mountain. The appearance of the Pagani Fengshen is exceptionally outstanding no matter when it is placed, let alone the limited edition of the only one in the world, which is the Land Cruiser. Almost as soon as he arrived at the foot of Mount Qin, Lu Lin's car caught the attention of everyone present. Although there are still several hours left until the evening race, there are still many people present to prepare for the race in advance, including some drivers who have come to practice driving. However, after seeing the customized version of Lu Lin's Pagani Fengshen NC, everyone couldn't help but stop their movements, hold their breath, and their faces were filled with astonishment and disbelief. Sleeping slot, I'm not mistaken, is this the NC custom version Fengshen that only made its debut last month? Wait, let me take a look at my photo album. I took some photos at last month's auto show. The first feeling that Fengshen brings to everyone is shock, followed by surprise and a hint of doubt. After all, it is a top-tier model with only one global limited edition of Pagani, which did not appear on the new Taipei track, but instead appeared at the foot of this small Qinshan mountain, which naturally surprised everyone. Looking at the very domineering appearance, everyone couldn't help but be intimidated by the momentum of this supercar. Is this the top-tier supercar? Limited to one vehicle globally, it truly lives up to its reputation. Listening to the roaring sound of the engine, even compared to Bugatti, it is not inferior. Under the gaze of everyone, Lu Lin slowly opened the car door and walked out of the Wind God. Looking at the unfamiliar faces walking out of the car, the drivers and wealthy second-generation present couldn't help but be stunned. Although Lu Lin can be considered sunny and handsome, in their circle, he is completely a stranger. However, it is this person who looks a bit handsome but doesn't see anything unusual that can drive a global limited edition Fengshen. Hello, I would like to ask where to register for tonight's car race. Looking at the dull expressions in everyone's eyes, Lu Lin felt a bit embarrassed and didn't know who was in charge here. He could only ask this question. Hello, I am the person in charge here. Are you going to participate in tonight's car race? Seeing Lu Lin speak, the person in charge who was originally stunned finally came to his senses and hurriedly walked up to Lu Lin's side, respectfully asking. Although this person in charge is already a wealthy second-generation with a solid family background, and their family is not unable to afford these tens of millions, it is not an easy task to buy a sports car with tens of millions at home. It should be noted that many listed companies may appear to have a terrifying high market value, but that is the market value, not the actual assets of the company. Some companies with $1 billion level may not even be able to allocate 1 billion yuan of working capital, let alone spend tens of millions to buy a sports car with little practical use. The young man in front of me, although he doesn't seem to have anything special at the moment, the limited edition Fengshen he is driving can illustrate many issues. This kind of car is not something that can be bought with money. Yes, I want to register for tonight's car race. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Shockwave from the school flower, families are generally still wealthy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Shocking from the school flower. Is the family background average or billions? Yes, I want to register for tonight's car race. Looking at the person in charge standing in front of him, Lu Lin nodded and said. Okay, I'll add you on WeChat, then you can fill out the registration form on WeChat and send it to me. As he spoke, the person in charge opened his phone, retrieved his WeChat QR code, and showed it to Lu Lin. Lu Lin immediately took out his phone and scanned the person in charge's QR code. When he saw the phone in Lu Lin's hand, the person in charge couldn't help but be surprised, not for anything else, because Lu Lin's phone was too broken, and there was a big crack in the middle of the screen. This makes the person in charge very puzzled. How could someone who can afford to use Pagani Fengshen use such a terrible phone? Can't this phone save his life? Although there were doubts in the heart, good professional ethics prevented the person in charge from expressing these doubts. In order to facilitate the statistics of the information of the participating racers, the organizers did not choose to use paper forms because paper forms are not easy to save and it is somewhat troublesome to calculate the amount of information. After adding the person in charge's WeChat account, Lu Lin opened the form sent by the other party and filled in his personal information. After seeing the information form filled out by Lu Lin, the person in charge couldn't help but be surprised. Lu Lin, 22 years old, a senior student at Chengdu University. Are you still a student on campus? Looking at the information on the table, the person in charge couldn't help but be surprised and said, "Yes, but there are still a few days before graduation. Do you have any questions?" No, I'm just a little surprised by your age." "Alright, congratulations on your successful registration. I will add you to tonight's contestant group later. You can communicate more in advance. The competition is scheduled to be held at 11 p.m. tonight. Please come earlier and prepare well. Wishing you all the best results." Seeing that the registration was successful, Lu Lin didn't leave much ink here. He directly spoke to the person in charge and drove towards the direction of the school. Lu Lin departed from school at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and by the time he arrived at Qinshan, it was already less than 5 p.m. When he returned, he had just caught the evening rush hour. However, perhaps due to driving luxury cars, even during evening rush hours, there are not many cars blocking in front of Lu Lin. The lane where Lu Lin is located has always been the most unobstructed, which has led many sharp-eyed drivers to choose to follow behind Lu Lin. In about half an hour, Lu Lin returned to Chengdu University from Qinshan. After returning to school, Lu Lin did not return to the dormitory, but went directly to the downstairs of the girls' dormitory. After parking the car downstairs in the girls' dormitory, Lu Lin naturally caught the attention of those around him. There's no way, who wouldn't be curious if such a big supercar was left there? Without paying attention to the eyes of the people around him, Lu Lin took out his phone and opened the chat box with Yan Ruowei. "I've taken care of the car race. Are you currently in the dormitory building?" "Got it done. It's really fake, I'm currently in the dormitory building. Let's come down and have a meal first. The car race won't start until 11 o'clock, and we should arrive around 10 o'clock. Treat me to dinner." "Well, please, let's just consider it as one of the parts of apologizing to you." "Okay." After receiving a response from Yan Ruowei, Lu Lin turned off WeChat and started playing with his phone in the car. However, leisure time is always so short. While Lu Lin was playing with his phone, a coquettish voice came from the side. "Hello, may I ask if this is your car?" "It's my car, what's up?" "Lu Lin." "Wang Yu." After seeing Lu Lin sitting in the car, Wang Yu instantly widened her eyes. The two of them know each other, and Wang Yu is the roommate of Lu Lin's ex-girlfriend Qin Han. The phone Qin Han borrowed to call brother Bang earlier was Wang Yu's. Due to Qin Han's fault, Wang Yu was also very familiar with Lu Lin's situation, but now when he looks at Lu Lin sitting in a seemingly expensive supercar, Wang Yu is completely bewildered. Isn't it true that Lu Lin is a poor kid who worked all winter vacation to buy Qin Han an iPhone? But how could a poor kid drive such a supercar? "Lu Lin, is this car really yours?" Although Lu Lin was sitting in the car at this moment, Wang Yu still couldn't believe it. After all, the sudden transformation from a poor boy to a wealthy man overnight is really unbelievable. It's not like writing a novel, there will be a system that suddenly falls on Lu Lin. "It's mine." After talking to Qin Han for so long, Lu Lin is still clear about the urine habits of her roommates. Although Wang Yu is not as outrageous as Qin Han, she is also a reliable money digger. Seeing Lu Lin openly admit, Wang Yu was also a bit speechless for a moment. At first, Wang Yu approached Lu Lin with the idea of getting to know a wealthy tycoon and maybe something else could happen to make some money. But when he saw that Lu Lin was sitting in the car, Wang Yu's brain seemed to crash, unsure of what to do next. After a long time, Wang Yu finally held back a sentence. That's okay, it's just that your car is a bit in the way when parked here. Could you please move it if possible? After speaking, Wang Yu quickly left, unable to do anything. It was really awkward. Listening to Wang Yu's words, Lu Lin looked at the spacious space left between the roadside stones on both sides of his car, but it was really a bit confusing. Just as Lu Lin was very puzzled as he watched Wang Yu leave, he heard a clattering sound in his ear. Following the sound, it was Yan Ruowei who walked out of the dormitory building. At this moment, Yan Ruowei had already changed off the clothes she wore for the afternoon class meeting, put on a very elegant and beautiful long dress, and stepped on a pair of high heels. She looked like a shining pearl, which was mesmerizing. Seeing Yan Ruowei approaching, Lu Lin quickly got off the car, opened the passenger door, stood aside, and welcomed Yan Ruowei's arrival. Is this your car? Looking at the wind god beside Lu Lin, Yan Ruowei's expression changed from the calm he had just walked out to a surprised expression. If it's a fake package exchange. Isn't your family average? How can you afford this kind of car? Due to his great interest in sports cars, Yan Ruowei naturally knows a lot about various information in his daily life. Coincidentally, when this car appeared at a car exhibition not long ago, Yan Ruowei read relevant reports and was able to recognize the car in front of him at a glance, as well as its terrifying price. Before, I was from an average family background, but after graduation, my family lifted the ban on me and it turned out that my family was just like $1 billion. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Meeting ex-girlfriend during meal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Meeting ex-girlfriend during meal. In the car, Yan Ruowei looked at Lu Lin sitting next to him, driving quietly, and his mind was still filled with a sense of unreality. I really didn't expect that I still have a talented classmate by my side. Lu Lin just smiled at Yan Ruowei's sighs along the way. When Yan Ruowei asked him how he had the money to buy a sports car, Lu Lin explained that his family was actually very wealthy, but due to certain reasons, he had always been in a state of poverty before graduating from college. It was only now that he was about to graduate that he relaxed his restrictions on himself. Yan Ruowei didn't have any doubts about Lu Lin's words. After all, when chasing dramas or reading novels, there are indeed wealthy families who use this method to train the younger generation in the family. Alright, you've been feeling emotional all the way. I'm almost hearing the cocoon in my ears. I really didn't expect that our university flower would also have such an unseen scene. Although Lu Lin listened to Yan Ruowei's sighs all the way, he didn't have any impatience in his heart. Sitting beside such a beautiful woman, no one would get angry with her just for a few words. Shit, anyone who suddenly knows about this kind of thing would react well to it, right? Yan Ruowei gave Lu Lin a pale glance and said with a stiff mouth. By the way, where are you taking me for dinner? As the surrounding scenery became increasingly unfamiliar, Yan Ruowei also began to wonder where Lu Lin was going. Have you heard of the Starlight Club? Lu Lin smiled mysteriously and said to Yan Ruowei beside him. What? Lu Lin, you're not really interested in me, are you? After hearing the restaurant name mentioned by Lu Lin, Yan Ruowei couldn't help but lean back and looked at Lu Lin, saying in some surprise. Why are you experiencing this reaction? Seeing Yan Ruowei's strange reaction, Lu Lin was also somewhat surprised and said. You don't know. Starlight Club is the most expensive couples restaurant in the entire Qin capital, and also one of the most luxurious restaurants. Why don't you have ulterior motives when you invite me to such a place for your first meal? Seeing Lu Lin's puzzled expression, Yan Ruowei instinctively let go of the only bit of caution and explained to Lu Lin. Pooh, I don't know. I just searched online for the best restaurant in Chengdu to treat girls to. They all recommended it, so I made a reservation. However, even if I really have any thoughts about you, you don't need that reaction. Can I still eat you? Listening to Yan Ruowei's explanation, Lu Lin also understood that this was just an upset. With a twist of the tongue, he began to tease Yen Ruowei. Well, you can. You're just a big scammer. No way, after finishing dinner and watching the car race today, I will block your WeChat account. I absolutely can't give you, this big scammer, a chance to deceive me. Yen Ruowei looked at Lu Lin and nodded seriously, saying. Puff, then I have to cherish these last few hours spent with you, the beauty of Yen University. Due to his divine driving skills, even joking with Yen Ruowei on the road did not affect Lu Lin's driving at all. Around 7 o'clock, Yen Ruowei and Lu Lin arrived at the Starlight Club. After getting the car ready, the two of them walked straight to the inside of the restaurant. After reporting their reservation phone numbers to the receptionist, they went to their dining table and sat down. Order your order now. Speaking, Lu Lin snapped his fingers and called the waiter beside him, handing the menu to Yen Ruowei. I'll go, why are the dishes here so expensive? Looking at the menu with dishes ranging from a few hundred to thousands, even Yen Ruowei couldn't help but curse. Although Yen Ruowei's family can be considered a moderately prosperous family, the restaurants at this price far exceed her family's affordability. After all, spending 10 to 20,000 yuan on a meal, if it weren't for real money, who would be willing to eat like that? Are you okay? You can just order it, but I suggest you don't eat too much tonight. There will be a big and exciting project later. Lu Lin looked at Yen Ruowei's surprised expression and said with a smile. A meal worth tens of thousands of yuan. If it had been yesterday, Lu Lin wouldn't have even dared to think about it. But now that the system has provided a billion yuan meal, even if we eat it every day, eating it until death is likely to make Lu Lin poor. However, even so, Lu Lin still needs to kindly remind Yen Ruowei. After all, in a few nights of car races, Yen Ruowei will be on the track with him. If he eats too much, in that tense and stimulating driving environment, Yen Ruowei may vomit on the spot. A big project. You're not really going to pull me to do something so messy, are you? No way, classmate Lu. Although you are very wealthy, I am definitely not the kind of woman who has no bottom line for money. If you're treating me to dinner with that kind of thought, then I'll leave now. Looking at Yen Ruowei's serious appearance, Lu Lin couldn't help but feel amused. I never expected that the usual high and cold school flower would have such a silly side. No, why are your thoughts all rustling in your mind this day? It's not spring now either. The big project I'm referring to is not what you think, but tonight's car race. There will also be a lot of delicious food there. If you're full now, you won't be able to enjoy the delicious food cooked by the chef invited by the organizer. Regarding the matter of letting Yen Ruowei go on the track together, Lu Lin plans not to tell Yen Ruowei for now, because seeing Yen Ruowei's performance along the way, it is estimated that it will be more fun to let Yen Ruowei know after going. Ah, this is it. Okay then, let's have a light meal tonight. Seeing that she had misunderstood Lu Lin, Yen Ruowei also lowered her head a bit embarrassed and buried her head in looking at the menu. In no time, Yen Ruowei ordered the dishes. While waiting for the dishes to be served, Lu Lin began to observe the restaurant. It has to be said that the decoration and lighting of this restaurant are indeed very suitable for couples in love to eat. Moreover, Lu Lin noticed that there were not only restaurants in this clubhouse, but also very private bathing areas, such as guest rooms. It can be said that all the dating activities for couples can be found in this club. However, during the observation process, Lu Lin also saw a figure that made him very unhappy. Qin Han. At this moment, Qin Han was holding onto the arm of her eldest brother, searching for a seat in the restaurant. The two of them should be as close as possible. Lu Lin. At the same time as Lu Lin saw Qin Han naturally also saw Lu Lin sitting there waiting for food. He remembered what Lu Lin had done to him this afternoon, and then looked at the girl sitting across from Lu Lin who could only see her back. Qin Han was instantly angry and whispered a few words to his top scorer. He then brought his top scorer to the table next to Lu Lin and sat down. Oh, isn't this Lu Lin? Why, suddenly developed and had the money to come to such a place to eat. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. School flower tears off ex-girlfriend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. School flower tears off ex-girlfriend. Why, where am I going to eat? Do I need to notify a bitch in advance? Regarding Chin Han's provocation, Lu Lin didn't even glance at Chin Han directly, but just picked up the teacup in front of him and said calmly. You. Humph, a loser like you can only show off your words. Even though you don't have money, you insist on bringing girls to such a place. This beautiful woman, I advise you to stay away from this poor ghost. It's estimated that if he asks you to come for dinner today, it will cost him a whole year's living expenses. Because Chin Han was sitting slightly behind Yan Ruowei, he still didn't know that the one eating with Lu Lin was actually the campus flower of Chengdu University. However, Chin Han did not notice that the big brother Bangyi sitting opposite Chin Han noticed Yan Ruowei sitting there. Just at a glance, as a seasoned pervert, the top-ranked guy was attracted by Yan Ruowei. Feeling Yan Ruowei's extremely pure temperament, coupled with her beautiful face, all attract her hormones. Seeing Chin Han speak up against Lu Lin, the big brother Bang Yi beside him also had a thought for Yan Ruowei. Yes, little sister, when looking for a boyfriend, be sure to keep your eyes open. It's acceptable if you don't have money, but a man who doesn't have money and still insists on pretending is not acceptable. If he doesn't have the money to pay the bill later, my brother can help you. Listening to the other person's lewd words with a teasing tone, Yan Ruowei instinctively flashed a hint of disgust on her face and instinctively moved her body inside. Seeing this, the top-ranked man was not only not angry, but also had a hint of excitement in his eyes. This challenging girl could most arouse his desire. Don't bother you, it's just a meager meal, it's nothing. Upon hearing this, Lu Lin on the side also spoke with a strange tone. However, Lu Lin's strange aura sounded like the last struggle of a chubby man with a swollen face to the two people beside him. For their provocation, Lu Lin didn't take it to heart. They were just two clowns jumping off a beam. If it was because these two people ruined his mood tonight, it would be really a loss. In no time, the dishes from both tables were served together. Unlike Lu Lin's side, Chin Han and his team have red wine on their table. After dinner, the two of them will do some things that men and women should do, so even if they come by car, there is no need to worry about drunk driving. However, when Lu Lin and his companions ordered wine, it became a point that caught their attention. Oh, what's going on? Lu Lin, treat someone to dinner tonight and just eat dry. Why aren't you willing to even order a bottle of wine? And why is there only so few dishes on this table? Isn't it because I don't have money and can't afford it, so I can only eat this, right? Looking at the small number of dishes on Lu Lin's table, there was still no trace of a bottle of wine. Chin Han picked up the wine glass in his hand, rushed towards Lin, and said with a smile. I'm saying you're not annoying. How much we eat, whether we drink or not, it's related to you for half a penny. If you're really that rich, why don't you buy this club? I really don't know where you're packing chicken feathers here. Having been constantly provoked by Chin Han, even Yan Ruowei couldn't help but curse at this moment. I was originally in a good mood to have a meal today, but there are always flies buzzing in my ears, which is really annoying. Yan Ruowei. At this moment, Chin Han, who had been scolded, finally saw Yan Ruowei's appearance, and his originally arrogant expression instantly turned into shock. How could it be that the beautiful campus flower of Chengdu University would eat with a poor guy like Lu Lin in such a high-end restaurant? Isn't this really a joke? At first, I didn't want to comment on you guys, after all, breaking up was between you and Lu Lin. But now, seeing your appearance and looking at the person sitting across from you, I guess they're not much older than your father. Don't you really find it strange to be with him? Lu Lin, I have to say, you broke up perfectly. If such a woman marries her back home, she will really harm the whole family. Yen Ruowei, who was forced beyond endurance by Qin Han, also started a violent output mode at this time, without any image of a lady. Looking at such a fierce Yen Ruowei, Lu Lin's face also showed a hint of a smile. Such a delicate appearance is much more interesting than that high and cold school flower. You. Can you say it again? After being scolded by Yen Ruowei, Qin Han remained speechless and could only point at Yen Ruowei. He was incompetent and furious, unable to even say a rebuttal. Say it again, what do you want me to do, you stinky bitch? I'm your mother, am I? Don't go back and look in the mirror, what's left of you besides being naughty? Looking at Qin Han's angry and despondent appearance, Yen Ruowei felt a sense of satisfaction in her heart. Don't think I dare not hit you just because you're the school flower. Speaking, Qin Han actually stood up and walked towards Yen Ruowei, while also slapping and greeting Yen Ruowei's face. Pop. Only a crisp sound was heard, and Qin Han, who was originally fierce, was now covering his face with red eyes as he looked at Yen Ruowei. Ah! I'll kill you. To hit Yen Ruowei, he was slapped first by the opponent. In a fit of anger, Qin Han could no longer suppress his emotions and rushed towards Yen Ruowei with open teeth and claws. Seeing the other party coming fiercely, Yen Ruowei was also prepared for a big battle with Qin Han. However, before Yen Ruowei could make any move, he saw a foot around 44 coming out of nowhere and directly kicking Qin Han in the abdomen, kicking it onto his seat. After all these years of being together, I really didn't see that you still have such a naughty side. Originally, when Qin Han wanted to smoke Yen Ruowei, Lu Lin planned to come out and stop him. However, to Lu Lin's surprise, Yen Ruowei's movements were actually much faster than his own. So, we can only wait until now to find the opportunity to take action, and the hero will save the beauty wave. Brother, hitting a woman is a bit excessive, isn't it? Seeing his woman being beaten, Brother Bongi, who had been sitting and watching the play, also stood up and looked at Lu Lin, saying with a displeased expression. Although Brother Bongi doesn't care about Qin Han, in such an occasion, if his girlfriend is beaten and he doesn't do anything, it's really embarrassing. I can't go too far. When did I get your evaluation? Why don't I come to you too? Watching the other person's footsteps float and their bodies are clearly hollowed out by alcohol and lust, Lu Lin did not pay attention to them. Thanks to his frequent work outside, Lu Lin's physique is also quite good, at least he is not a problem with being physically assaulted. You. Security guard. Where's the security guard? How did you work on duty? Why did you let such people in? End of this chapter.